Looks like we are going here. So we're putting new pickups on this, we'll call it a T-shaped object. So I'm going to pull some screws out of here. And we may find ourselves insulating the body cavity of this instrument today also. And I want to remove some screws out of here, some old screws that have lived their life in one guitar and now will begin life in another. I'm going to keep everything in one little nice little magnetic bowl that I have here. I love that thing. It keeps everything nice and tidy and all in one place, and if it gets knocked over, not too much stuff hits the floor. So there we go. Doing the easy part, and this one does have the underlay so they can get 22 frets. That's the one mistake that Leo made when making a Fender guitar, is that he only put 21 frets on the bunch of them, which I find a little annoying. At times I still have one guitar with 21 frets. Let's see what happens here. Okay, and that does come out of there nice and easy. And the cavity looks great. And I've already loosened this up. So we'll get this out of here. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this first pickup. But before I do that, I want to look at... Hello, Charlie. What's happening, brother? Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a great... what day is it? Wednesday. I want to look at these pickup output meter. They're 3, so they're not terribly hot. Let's look at these pickups to see what kind of wiring they are sent with. Let's see if this box is childproof. Box does not want to come out of here. There it does. Okay. Now let's look. So we've got our, and the guy, the customer that brought this into me, so it's going to have identical wiring and the same rubber feet that the normal Fender pickups have. So they tied these in a knot, looks like. So I'll have to see what it takes to get these undone. Be very careful here. This thing is really beautiful finish on this. It's a very affordable guitar and definitely not insulated. The cavity is not insulated, so we're gonna have to insulate the body of this, which means I am gonna pull the strings totally off of this guitar. I asked the owner how old the strings are, and he said that he put them on about 3 weeks ago, and he's fine with me taking them off of there. This one screw was really loose. I don't think this bridge has been taken out of the guitar before. So don't use power tools on guitars, only basses. Let's see if this one will come out. And it will. Really nice bridge on this thing. It looks like it's a Wilkinson series. I don't know, given this guitar, where this guitar was made, they can put anything they want on these things. And there's nothing you can do about copyright or trademark or anything like that. Hoping that it's true, though. Wilkinson does make some pretty nice stuff. They have a pretty good reputation in the guitar building world. Okay, so is the ground connected to... Okay, so the strings are what's keeping me, so let's go ahead and just cut these off of here. I was hoping to not necessarily have to do this, but because I could have used these strings, they're not in bad shape, but I need them out of my way. So we'll get them off of here. Get going on putting new pickups in this, but first I have to insulate the body cavity. So we're going to use some give me a moment here. Got to get this string. This one got wound a little bit wonky. There we go. It's really important when you put strings on here to be very careful about twisting them or letting them overlap. Snooks low. Almost installed my control knob and switch backwards because I like the idea of switching the back. I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Camellia, hello. Give Ert a big hug and smooch for me. I hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's having a really good Wednesday. I have my first weekend in 10 weeks, I believe, without a gig this weekend. So that'll be kind of nice. I get an actual weekend where I don't have to do something. Pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to my free time. Get the strings out of here. There we go. I don't have any gigs this weekend, but next week I'll make up for getting my weekend off by playing four gigs. 4 gigs, yeah. You heard it right. I am still a very busy boy right up to the end of the music season, we'll call it. When the weather's nice here in the beautiful state of Oregon, don't come here. You'll hate it. The weather sucks. People are mean. The landscape is just dry and ugly, and just don't come here. It's terrible. So we're just going to get these old ones out of here because we know we're replacing them. And I'm hoping that the new ones will fit in this guitar the way the old ones did. We'll hope. Try and keep these springs because I will reuse these springs and not the rubber ones that were sent with the pickups, simply because the rubber ones will get hard and disintegrate and won't work after several years. How do I know that? Because I've pulled old pickups out of old guitars many times. Okay, so we're going to get our ground wire out of there. Now we'll pull our control module out. I'm going to get my hammer off of my bench, and I'm going to set the bridge off to the side just to get it out of the way. I'm hoping maybe I can get this thing done today. Steve, the guy that owns this guitar, I know that he really wants to get this thing back. He's not in any kind of super big hurry, but I want to get this thing done for him as quickly as I can. And look at that, Fender even sent a drawing for the to install these pickups. I'm going to raise my camera up and try and get you guys a little bit closer in to the work that I'm doing here. We'll see how that works. I've got my soldering gun and some solder and my cleaning kit over here. Yeah, that might be a little bit better view. Hang on just a second. Hook up my... There we go. Clean off my soldering gun. We'll get these wires undone. I'm gonna get my solder sucker also to get this extra solder off of here, so we do a nice, neat, clean job. Having extra solder on stuff, just I think it looks like an amateur did the work. Alright, so they've got these 2 posts soldered together, which is kind of neat, I guess. So there's that one. And where's our ground wire from that pickup? The ground wire is going here. So we'll get that. I'm being really careful not to... I got all 3 of them that time. That's pretty cool. There we go. So now that's all undone. I'm going to pull this pickup out of the guitar, I think. There we go. Let's go ahead and undo this one. This one also has springs on it, so I will reuse these springs and not use any of the crappy, what do you call it, rubber. They call them springs. Leo Fender, you know, while being a really great engineer, is also a cheap. He is a cheap ass. Cheap dude. It reminds me of my dad. If he can save 3 cents, if it costs him 10 cents to save 3 cents, he'll do it. No, I'm joking about that, but Leo definitely did stuff cheaply. Bought some surgical tubing and used it for washers. And we all know that those rubber washers turn into absolute garbage. So we've got the pickguard all undone. I like the pickguard, pretty nice. There's a term that people use for that stuff. Mother of toilet seat, I think. Alright, so, and then our neck, our bridge pickup goes here. So, what I will do, I don't have to do.
I wouldn't get it in time.
I don't necessarily have to do this, but
I wouldn't get it in time.
I'm gonna write.
But the button. I thought the button layout on the
Neck
on the JVC was the same as the
bridge.
Gimlet.
That way. So what I've done is on the control switch, I've wrote where the neck pickup connects and where the bridge pickup connects. I know. Just because I don't want to forget. I'm getting old.
Yeah,
Can't remember stuff like I used to be able to.
KW SX 88BT.
There it goes. All right.
No 88.
And we'll pull this pickup out of here. There it is. Now I need to get the ground wire out of here also, because I'm going to insulate this cavity, and I need to be able to connect this cavity to this, and this cavity to this, and this to the control module, and all that stuff. So let's get some. Where's my copper tape? I gotta find my copper tape. I haven't used it for a while.
That's the only problem. That's why I picked over that one.
Where, there they are. Alright, so let's do some insulation. Any questions? BCG, what's happening? Zach, what's happening? Did you buy an amp yet? Please tell me you didn't buy an amp. I'm joking. Dude, I'm totally joking about that. Although I do find it funny that anybody would buy an amp in today's world. But I find it funny, humorous, I guess, would be a good way to put it. Just because they're obsolete, man. They're definitely obsolete. I will not stop on that one. I've gotten away from them, and I do play professionally, and I understand the old school way of thought. I do understand, but it's old school. It is old school, and it is a lot of extra work. But I don't know, Zach, I don't think you play in a band, so you may not fully understand the hassle of packing an amp to a gig. Again, I'm on week 10 straight of playing gigs every weekend, and I'm about done for the summer season. And I've only had one gig that I did take amps to, and I feel really stupid for doing it. Yep. I cut that one too short. Let's just go ahead and put this one in here. Yes, I'm insulating the entire cavity of this guitar to help prevent any noise from happening. Although, keep in mind, we've been listening to Telly's on the song Stairway to Heaven and every Bruce Springsteen album, making noise from the day these things were created, the single coil pickups. So I don't have to worry about this, although I am gonna cut it off. I may need to get a different, want to overlap the edge of this so that when we insulate the pick guard, it is also helping insulate the guitar. Okay, let's do. Let's see.
Yeah, so it's got more bonus than just.
And also, I do use copper tape, not slug killer. This has conductive adhesive on the back of it, so when I tape this to another piece, electricity will conduct through the adhesive where it's stuck together. So I made sure to do that. You can buy tape that doesn't have that, and I don't know. And of course you can, like everybody knows to do, you poke through it with a razor blade or any type of sharp object, and it will help the conductivity of your insulation. Isn't this fun? Usually takes quite a bit of time to do an insulation job on an instrument. You end up going over a few parts of the guitar several times, usually. Yeah, I need a new razor blade. You can recommend on power supply to power 4 foot pedals and only use 1 wall wart. Yeah, John 5, there you go. VCG, you know it. One of the best, man. That guy is awesome. I use a Voodoo Labs power supply for my pedal board. Isolated power. It has a 110 power outlet that plugs into a regular wall outlet, and it lowered the noise floor on my pedal board by a lot. When you get one and you get a good one with isolated power, I doubted it for a long time. I wasn't sure if all that, what guys were talking about and it being quieter and all that, I wasn't sure about that. Then I got one. And Charlie, I will tell you firsthand, you've heard my pedal board on live streams in the past. I don't use it anymore because I don't play through amps anymore. But the Voodoo Labs one that I bought was not cheap. But I play professionally, so I spend my money put my money where my mouth is. But the one spot ones are also come with pretty good reviews. But ideally, you just want to have something with isolated power to each pedal. That way, you don't have any chance of an overdrive pedal messing with a delay pedal, messing with a chorus pedal, messing with something else. Right? That's my advice. Now, obviously, I'm not when I'm doing this on this insulation part of this or the shielding part of this cavity. You don't have to be like super tidy, although it looks nice and it makes it look like you're a pro in doing stuff pretty tidy, but it's totally not necessary. You can make the inside of this look really bad as long as none of the as long as you're not as long as you have conductivity throughout the entire cavity so that there aren't any blank spots that aren't being shielded. You know, and it does help to make stuff look tidy, especially when, you know, you're working for somebody else. I'm using the back edge of my scalpel, one of my favorite tools, to get the tape to stick down. And I need, go here to there. I'm being real picky about cutting the pieces of tape long. I'm cool with them overlapping. That's a good idea. You just get a little bit more, I think, insulation, shielding from RF and stuff like that. I don't know how well my camera guy is doing keeping up with me, but I can't afford a good camera guy. Mine, you know, I buy him beer and he just gets worse. Nice. Look at that. Overlapping the top edge of the hole so that my pick guard will also insulate, make contact with the cavity here. All right. Okay. Just about done. I got one more piece after this one and I will be totally done, at least getting the insulation part of this.
Ah, you're making it extra good.
Oh yeah.
Never hurts, does it?
Never heard anything.
Oh, just to forewarn you, Merle's coming today at 3:30, the fire dude.
Merle, oh, okay.
He might not like that.
That, I'll unplug everything before I go home.
Okay.
Or you could just tell him it's Marshall stuff for lessons and he'll forget he saw it.
As long as they don't bring that bastard with him that came with them last time.
Alright.
All right, buddy.
I talked to him a little bit about that.
I appreciate it, Marshall.
Yeah, I'll unplug all that.
You can leave the power strip plugged right into the wall, but you just need to, you know.
The six-way thing?
Yeah, that 6-way dongle thing with the power strip plugged into it. The power strip into a power strip, that's the thing he doesn't like.
Okay. So if I just unplug this,
You can unplug that.
leave the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Okay. Cool.
If not, I'll yank it.
Oh, I'll remember.
So, well, I can just fix that right now.
Right.
And he'll say, oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you can unplug, the better.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I got you. Now, what you just witnessed me almost do was cut the tape on the body of this guitar. Don't do that. Especially if you painted the guitar yourself. That would be a oops. Big oops. There we go. And I'll bring the camera over here so you can see how beautiful this looks. And if you're that worried about it being perfectly smooth, I think you might want to think about doing something else for a hobby. Although, you know, if you got all that kind of time to do that, that's fine. So this is what it looks like. All right, just this one cavity. I've got the edges overlapped. All of this will be under a pick guard, so it doesn't really matter how clean it is. And then we'll grab the pick guard, and there's zero insulation on, zero shielding on the pick guard. So what I am going to do is shield the bit of the pick guard over the wiring and over the pickup hole. And there is a good way to do this, and you can kind of save yourself a little bit of agony. Now, I don't like cutting the I don't like cutting the copper out of the hole where the pickup goes through. It usually looks really bad. You get little shreds of copper sticking up through, and it just does not look good. So, and even cutting it around the edges of the pick guard, you usually end up with some of it becoming visible. So you've got to be very diligent about getting rid of all of it and cutting it actually back a little bit further. You know, I'm looking at this and I can see little shreds of copper along the edges. And I don't want anybody to see any copper sticking out over the edge of this pick guard regardless. And that part that I just cut off is actually going to be under the neck, right? You're not going to see that. In fact, this pick guard goes all the way up there. So, and where I am going through holes, I leave that. That I think helps make a little more connection to the wood in the body. And I think it's helpful. There we go. All that for one piece of tape. We don't want to see any of that sticking out. It looks bad. Charlie, I hope I helped answer your question about getting a power supply. Definitely buy something with shielded power or isolated power for every pedal. Don't run daisy chains in your pedal board. And if you do, you don't realize how much noise is actually being transferred to your guitar signal chain, because you don't know the difference better, or you don't know any better, is what I should say. It is very obvious the advantages of having isolated power. I doubted it for a long time with isolated power on pedal boards. It's like, no way, my power's clean at my house. Yeah, it might be. And I will leave a little note inside this guitar stating that I'm the guy that put these pickups in August of, or September, I should say, of 2025. It's September already, you guys. Good Lord. Where did the summer go? We are almost going to be getting into crappy weather again. Which is why you should never come to Oregon. Just don't do it. You will hate the weather here. And the people. Okay. There we go. we're shielded, at least for that part. Now I need to come group. This is going to shield the wiring for the cables going from the pickup to the control cavity. Yeah. Pretty exciting, huh? Look at that. Man, that's perfect. I'm good. All right, so we did that one. And now I'm going to take a piece of wire. I think I have some black wire laying around here someplace. I got white. I don't want to use white. I might have to go get some black wire. Use a lot of black colored wire for grounds and such. Let me see. Have some in here. Nope, used it all up. I do have some green. Nah, that's double stranded. Okay, so I've got to go. Oh, Steve, hello, man. Welcome. Forgive me. So I have to step outside real quick. I'm gonna go grab some more ground wire so that I can tie all of this stuff together. I want to solder one in here just so I have it done. So give me a moment. I got to run out to the auto shop where we have our large assortment of wire.
The 280, okay, the 280, all right. And you want to save that down so I can get it in reorder?
Dookie. We have wire. All right, so got to get this other cavity all done. So I think, what should I do here? I want to pull the pickup or the output jack out of it. It's an output jack. It's not an input jack. I say that every time. So I just don't want this thing bouncing around and scratching up the guitar. So we'll go ahead and put another screw in there. Oh, How did Fender, or, oh wait, this is not a Fender guitar. Here we are working on this part. I'm just going to desolder the output jack. Then I can pull all the electronics. I got the guitar basically completely stripped. Don't use power tools on a guitar. Bad idea. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for all the channel memberships. You guys just make my day, and I really enjoy doing this sort of stuff live. I don't think many guys do it live anyway. It's because they get long and drawn out, but you can see how the whole process goes. So if you're wanting to take something like this on in your own workshop or whatever, you can kind of see what I might go through to do something like this. All right. So I'm going to unsolder this. And now I'll be able to pull all of the electronics out of that. I should have done this to begin with, but those solder joints looked absolutely terrible. They were probably done by a robot, is my guess, given the fact that this guitar was less than $300. Yep, you heard me that right. You did hear that correct. All right, let's get some tape in here. Let's see, we want to go. One thing about this cavity is that they did router it all out nice and smooth. There's a big old glob of paint here. We'll get that out of the way. That's because I can. That little chunk of paint would inevitably have gotten in my way when I was putting everything back together again. I promise that would have happened, because this is me we're talking about. I want to be careful here on these corners, because I don't want... Done this enough times on tellies to know that those little corners stick out, and you can see it. It just looks bad. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys are not being able to see what I'm doing here. Trying to get my camera guy getting a good shot. Frame the shot. Frame the shot. This part of these guitars is really one of the hardest parts to do, most time-consuming parts. Takes a little while to get the control cavity all insulated. And I haven't really decided what the best way to do these is, so I probably do it differently every single time. Because this one is definitely deeper than the width of the tape, so so Charlie, did you order a Voodoo Labs power supply? Just curious. Yet? Okay, so I remember this. Actually, I can use where I got so much stuff out on my. Here we go. I remember doing this. I had to do this. Yeah, that way I've got some overlap on the very bottom. Come on. Now I've got that bottom edge overlapping into the bottom of the hole. That way I know I've got complete coverage. I'm not worried about it being real clean and tidy. Again, that doesn't matter unless you're that picky. Right? But these little tools, I remember using these on the last one. It's been a while since I've insulated or shielded a guitar cavity. I'm going to cut this one a little bit longer. Maybe go around the horn, right? For you baseball players know what I'm talking about. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, with all the gigs that I've had over the last almost 2 months, I've had to make up a few guitar lessons with my students. And it's so nice to see their dedication to coming in and learning to play. Today, one of my favorite young ladies who comes in and does lessons with me, she is just a really sweet little girl, and she's really learning fast, and she seems to really love it. But Dad wanted to make sure, because we missed her lesson on Tuesday this week, when I was out of town, he wanted to make sure that we rescheduled another lesson. So I've set her up for coming in this Friday on a day that I normally don't do guitar lessons, so that she can get her lesson in with me this week. And it really means a lot. That kind of dedication is really cool. She seems to really enjoy playing. Smart. I think she's 10. Just as a real enjoyable young lady to have. She has the coolest hair. Last week it was purple. I don't know what color it'll be this week. But boy, I've been busy rescheduling guitar lessons. Oops. Because even though I play music in a band, doesn't mean that my real life, my regular life, is all put on hold for that. I still have to maintain my relationship with my clients and my guitar students. So most of my guitar clients are never in a big hurry. Although Steve, the guy that owns this guitar, who was actually a student of mine also, he's going to be leaving town on Thursday this week. So, or I'm sorry, on Friday. So I will have this thing done for him so he can take it with him. It means it's important to me for that. Whatever it takes. And I sometimes will come into my shop at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night because I got a job that I have to get done for someone for whatever reason. So go. I've got my output jack hole all opened up. And hopefully my head wasn't right in the middle of the movie. Oh. I got one more piece of tape to put in here and we'll be all shielded. Here we go. Fun doing this. Kind of time consuming, but it's kind of fun to do this and be very thorough and make sure that every connection is done right and all your solder joints are very good. Yes, there will be a few solder joints on this. Oh. Now, I'm worried that this piece right here is probably sticking out over the side too far, but let's see. Look at that. It doesn't stick out, so we are very well shielded here. That looks good. I like that. And I've got overlap on both sides. Although I am going to do this just because I can. Something I like to do on guitars is get a few of the screws going through. I know I've got a couple that the screws will go through the pickguard and into the wood of the body. I like to do this. Right. It is probably more a mental illness than it is actually helping anything. But I can also see where the edge of the cover is, the cavity cover, so I know that neither of these pieces, this one, nope, neither of those pieces are going to be visible under the body of the guitar. So let's go again, get the rest of this cavity filled, and we'll start wiring her back up. I don't know if I'm going to get this done today. I have to leave at 2 o'clock, so my stream will only go until 2. So we'll just see what happens here. Little tricky spot right here, this cavity being as weird wonky shaped as it is. I'm hoping you can see what I'm up to here. I know that a lot of this, my hands are in the way, blocking what I'm doing, but I think you guys get the idea. Yes, because not only do I play guitars, I fix them. And it is a wonderful life.
Yeah.
I love what I do. Got a little too carried away with this little piece. I just don't want any of it visible. So now I know I've gotten that taken care of. All right. Do another piece. I know if you've shielded guitars before, you know that it can be a bit of a time-consuming project. Now, I know that one is sticking out too far, but we'll fix it. Boy, I got lucky. Look at that. Cut that piece just about exactly the right length. That does not happen that often. Now, I'm going to cut a little bit more of this one off. So we don't have a lot of extra the bridge doesn't have a lot of room outside of this hole, or the cavity, I should say. Sometimes getting the tape to peel off is the hardest part of doing these. Oh. Good handy little tool. And something that I know that a lot of guys who might be doing this on their own guitar probably fail to do, but that is check the conductivity between each cavity, making sure that the tape that you installed is connecting to all of the cavities, because you want them all tied together so that you've got continuity in between each cavity here and there and so on. So it's a good idea to always remember to use your electrical tester, continuity tester, to make sure that you did a good job connecting every piece of copper and wire that is needed. Ask me how I know. Don't ask me how I know, because you know exactly how I know, because I have forgotten to do that test and got the whole thing put together again, and buzz central. There we go. Okay. Almost done here. I've got a couple more pieces to put in, and we'll move on to getting the thing wired. I know how exciting this must be to watch this, but if you're wanting to do this yourself, this is how you do it. And I think I'm getting this done in a pretty timely manner. Meaning, you know, I'm trying to make sure that I do a good job, but I also want to make sure that I do it quickly, so that I don't have to charge my client a boatload of money to do something that could have been done a whole lot more quickly. That work ethic comes from being a plumber, and you do not mess around. You don't make an extra trip to the truck to grab a tool. You don't waste any steps, ultimately, is what I like to call it. No wasted steps. All right, maybe two more pieces here. Again, I thank everybody for tuning in today. It's kind of a fun little job, and it's something that is commonly done on guitars, especially noisy guitars with single coil pickups. I personally don't use single coil pickups in my guitars. I defeat hum by using humbuckers, which is the best way to make your guitar quiet. But if you have to have single coil pickups, God bless you. But there's better ways to do it, and they make humbuckers that sound just like single coils, but they don't have the 60 cycle hum that you get from having a single coil pickup. Which, you know, people call me and ask me about pickups or my opinion or anything, my first answer is get humbuckers. Oh, but it's a Strat. I know. Mine is too. Mine makes no noise. You kind of have 6 of one or half dozen of the other. Let's see. Now, my straight ice pick has been missing for a while. Somebody borrowed it, I think, here at the shop, and I just don't have it anymore. It's a bummer. But, okay, and I noticed down at the bottom I tore one of the pieces, so I'm going to cut a small piece, and I've got a kind of a blank spot down at the bottom here where there's no shielding because the tape tore. I'll show you the small detail that I'm taking care of right now. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that from the camera, but right here there's a blank spot in the shielding because the tape tore. So we'll cover that up. Now I'm going really light with it, and then I'm pushing the tape into the corner with the end of my razor blade. I keep that space open and that space open. There we go. All right. Time to ground each piece of the cavity together. So, whoops, I'm sorry, my camera guy's sleeping on the job. So here we go. My solder. Have a nice little solder roller there. Tin your solder, all right? Y'all know to do that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and go inside here and build a nice little puddle of solder. Okay. I'm going to, okay, yeah, good. I'm gonna feed this through into the body cavity, or the control cavity. And I'm going to solder that from here. Okay, so I have to specially shape these pieces. And I have my gun set to the highest temperature that it can be at for this. Because the solder will cool so quickly that you want to get it hot enough. And then I'm going to go ahead and snip. Oh, where's my snippers? There they are. I'm going to give myself enough room that I can strip this wire and tin it first. And, this is a very safe wire stripper right here. You see how safe that is. Yeah, and I'm not wearing protective eyeglasses or anything. I guess maybe I can get sued for that. I don't know. Don't do what I do. All right. Okay, so now these two are connected, and we'll strip one more piece of wire. Remember, see, this is a very safe way to strip wire. See, you don't have to cut your finger or anything when you do that. Cutting your finger kind of sucks.
It does.
Especially with a razor blade, right? That sucks. Come on. Now you want to make sure to get the copper insulation tape hot enough that it can handle melting the solder. You're not melting the solder with your soldering gun. That's a huge mistake in many people's soldering jobs, is that they just melt the solder with the gun and they don't get a good solid solder joint, because it doesn't really stick. It's what's known as a cold solder joint. And like Zach Wilde would say, do it right, play it right. All right, there we go. So, there we go. Okay. I'll cut enough of this wire off of here. Now this wire that I'm using, we throw nothing away here at our shop. It came off of an old car stereo, and now it is breathing life and silence into a Telecaster. Pretty cool, huh? And we try and recycle and use as much material over as we possibly can here. This wire is not cheap. Copper is extremely expensive. And so I do my best to never buy it if I don't have to. It's almost foolish to buy wire in this day and age. There we go. Alright, so we got everything tied together, I think. Let's check. Oh, where's my tester? Now I can't hear this thing beep. And, oh yeah, I got plenty of time. I might even get these pickups in this thing today. So, let's double check our continuity. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I know, oops, my camera guy's sleeping on the job again. Alright, so I'm going to go from here to here, and just checking all over. Alright, so we got continuity. Pretty good. Alright, so the conductive adhesive on this tape, really helpful. Yes, it's a little bit more money, but it allows you to do your job right. Now I also noticed this one little spot right here where I have a little bit of tape missing. I'm gonna cut a small piece here, and I'm gonna seal this little crack in the guard, I guess. And I know this is being really, really nitpicky, but it's the difference between a job well done and one kind of done half-assed, is what I like to say. And I'm going to overlap the top edge. There we go. Okay, let's get some pickups in this thing. So we've got our, oh my goodness, there we go. Sorry about that, it made you all dizzy. So we have our, let's see, we have our neck pickup, goes in here like this. And again, I am going to use the springs. One, two, let's go there. Okay, I'm going to use the springs. That's right. Okay. Use the springs from the original pickups because these will last longer than the rubber ones that they sent with me. Or sent with the pickups. Not a fan of those things. How many of them have I had to replace because you couldn't adjust the pickup anymore? Nope. Put it on the right direction. Definitely put it on the correct direction. I like to put the big side towards the pick guard. Oh my goodness. Not quite sure why I can't hold on to stuff like I used to be. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old. Okay, so we gotta go like that. Alright. I just dropped the oh, there it is. I found it. The screws fit really nicely. I did not lose the spring, which is good. So we'll go. Put the spring on there. Come on. I don't know how well my camera guy is following me, but there we go. Okay. And we can, oh, you know what I just did? My goodness. I thought that looked kind of strange. My goodness, here we go. I don't walk on water. I put the exact same pickup that came out of the guitar back in the guitar. What a nitwit. Nitwit. Probably go to jail for calling somebody a nitwit anymore, right? If you're in college, right? You'd be so offended. Somebody would be so terribly offended by that. Here we go. Okay, now, pickup always goes with this direction facing towards the bridge, not the neck. And that fits in there really nicely. Never say never always, but it always goes in like this. Okay, so they put these screws, these screws are really long, which is great. I like it. We'll let a guy really adjust the pickup height. Okay, so I'm just going to get this one started, and then we will the other one. And I know my camera guy is probably not keeping up with me here. I'm probably out of the frame a lot, you guys, and I apologize for that. I just can't afford to hire someone to run the camera for me. That would be a pretty expensive proposition, I would think. Okay, so I'm going to grab a bigger screwdriver. These things are getting pretty tight as I'm getting it in here. We're just about there. Alright, so I like to start off with them fairly low, meaning low in height relationship to the strings. Okay, we have an extra piece of wire going through this slot, so I had to screw those or twist them together. Okay, now here's another thing that you can do when you're putting pickups like this in a guitar. It's not a bad idea, but wind the wires together, and don't be too oh, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. You want to be careful about breaking the wires, but at the same time you want to be sure to have them wrapped nice and tightly. It does help shield shield them from okay. Okay, so doesn't that look nice? You want to be careful when you're doing that to not break your pickup connections. That can lead to a very big job trying to repair that. And it can be infuriating when that happens, because boy, now that I've done that, my wires are going to be quite a bit shorter, but that's just the way it goes. But now he hired me to shield this guitar and put new pickups in it. So now he's got nice shielded wire and shielded body cavity. Oh, to use the correct screws, I'm going to go ahead and screw the pick guard in a couple of places here just to hold it in place. And don't use power tools on guitars. You'll break it for sure. You'll strip a screw, or you'll scratch the guitar. Something bad will come of that activity. I'm just cleaning up a little bit here, getting rid of my papers from my shielding tape. Let's go ahead and just get a couple screws set in here. I'm not going to put very many of them in here, just enough to keep this thing in place. Yeah, 2 ought to be alright. Let's just put 3 in here so that when I put the body or the control cavity back in there, we know it lines up correctly. Alright, because it's going to move the pick guard ever so slightly. Alright, there's that. Now let's put the new pickup in the old bridge, and this one, oops, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Here's the new one. Look at that. What a sweet pickup. Alright, so it still says Wilkinson on it, but this is definitely not a Wilkinson pickup. Alright. We've got our screws. These can be a little bit tricky to get in. And I put the small end of the spring towards the pick guard, or in this case the bridge. Now I may, in this case, have to use the screws that came with the pickup, because these holes are a lot smaller that are cut through the pickups. So here I have them, which is kind of a bummer now that I know these screws are much bigger and stouter and probably more stable, but they don't fit in the new pickups. So we gotta go with our gut, and we'll get 3 of these guys out of here. Yep, here they are. And we'll get rid of these rubber. These are about the only thing I would throw away, although I could probably sell them, all the ones that I've gotten rid of, just because they're garbage. I think it's a terrible idea to use those on an instrument. Oh. They just dry out over, and it doesn't take very long. I've worked on tellies that are way less than 10 years old, and those little rubber things are just, they're crumble. Okay. Come on. There we go. That's getting close for time for me to, oh boy. Well, this is interesting. Check this out, you guys. That's all that's all the wire they gave me on this pickup. That's not long enough to even reach the control cavity. Jeez. I'm gonna have to change this piece of wire. And there's white ink on this. So these were purchased by someone else, and I have to assume that that's the case. That's just not enough wire. Although it is the ground. Could I just solder that to the body and have it work? No. I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm not going to disconnect that. I'm going to extend this piece of wire. Where'd my black wire go? Here it is. So we're going to use a small piece of this and make that piece of wire longer. I'll call Steve and let him know that I did this. If he's got a problem with it, he can and I am going to photograph this and document it for the owner of the instrument so that they can either file a complaint or whatever they want to do with regard to this. That's tragic. That's going to be enough, I think. So when I do join wires together, this is how I do it. I don't tin the wire first. I twist it together, and then I solder it. Where's my solder? Oh boy, that didn't stay. I need to strip that a little bit further. Let's just go to this side. I need to strip this a little bit longer. Okay. Boy, it's kind of a bummer that I have to do this on a brand new pickup. Okay. Plenty warm. Use now I'm going to also show you a little trick to heat shrink. You can heat shrink it with your soldering iron. If you don't have a lighter or something, I always have a lighter in my pocket when I'm working on guitars because I have to heat shrink a lot of stuff. All right.
What's Chris got going on there? Looks like he's working on a truck. I don't know what he's doing to it, but you know we gotta go get a part for it.
Takes a little longer than using a lighter or something, but it does a good job. All right. I got a little bit of solder on here just because there was solder on my soldering gun. There we go. Okay, so now I got enough wire that I can get this pickup installed. That sucks. That's a bummer. All right. Now, my spring was on here, and the spring has vanished into thin air. Literally this. Oh no, no, it hasn't. I can't see. Okay. Let's get this thing in here now. Now with these pickups, I like to get them started so that the top is actually above the bridge. Because these things can be a little tricky sometimes because the hole. Oh, Jesus. Alright. Oh, there it is. Okay, because this hole is not always big enough for everything to fit through with a different brand of pickup. And that's very common with these Tele T-style pickups. It's not like the industry would standardize anything. Alright? It's like these screws. They don't work in all the pickups, but all the pickups are the same. Okay. We're almost done with this part of the project. And I am out of time today, so I'm going to get this screw started, and then I am going to end the stream, and we'll pick it back up tomorrow where we left off today. Alright, I'll have from about 11 o'clock in the morning until about 2 p.m. tomorrow to do a live stream, which this thing will definitely be done by 2 o'clock tomorrow. No question about that. Boy. Just getting this snug enough that the pickup is actually protruding through the top of the bridge. There we go. Get a couple more turns on this one. And there it is. Boom. Alright, so I'm gonna drop this in place, and then I'm gonna have to go. So I can only assume, and I'm only going to assume, I don't know where this pickup came from, or if it was cut out of another guitar, or what. I didn't buy it. The client provided the pickup to me. But it did arrive with a piece of wire that was definitely not long enough to do this install without extending it. So, I definitely have enough there now that okay, so I can see that I've got a little extra copper sticking out right there. So I'm going to cut it off. Almost done. Oh, and I forgot also, I almost forgot. Where is all this wax? I'm making a mess here. No, that's not. Oh yes, maybe it is. Maybe they only put that little short ground wire on there because they expect you to connect this to the bridge ground. I don't know. I like to just have one piece of wire. Alright. We're almost done. Alright guys, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate everybody watching. You guys do almost, man. Oh man, time to go get cleaned up for the night. Yeah. Hey. You guys have a really great evening, and thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something about my methods and how I do this stuff, or how to not do something. You know, I always say that. Yeah, BCG, thanks for hanging with me today, man. It's great to see you. And Charlie, Independent Manny, Zach, Falcro, looks like you're here. Yeah. Right on. All right, you guys, take care.